Behold, a killer Sudoku. In case you did not see our intro to this puzzle, it works much like normal Sudoku, with numbers 1 to 9 that must be unique in every row, column and bounded 9-cell block. However, there are two significant differences. One are the smaller dashed areas with numbers. These numbers tell us the sum of values in the respected dashed block. Additionally, the numbers within every such block must be unique. Most times this is not really important, but take a look at these two values here. By regular Sudoku rules they could be the same number, but killer Sudoku rules do not allow this. The second difference is the lack of values that would allow Sudoku deduction. But in this case, how do we even start? Well, we start by looking at these 3 blocks. We know that each of them must contain a 1 and a 2. Then, looking at this 4 block here, we can tell the respective block must contain a 1 and a 3. And now let's take a look at the first column. The interesting part about it is the fact that 5 out of 9 values present here are parts of 2-cell blocks that sum to 13. As we know, the 3 ways to make a 13 out of 2 numbers are 4 plus 9, 5 plus 8 and 6 plus 7. So these values definitely do not have a 1, a 2 and a 3. The interesting thing in this context is this 5 block down here. This way or the other, it's seeing all the 6 value mentioned, so it can't contain neither of the 6 values listed before. Clearly, this also means it can't contain a 1, because to make a 5 we would then need a 4. This means this 5 block must contain a 2 and a 3. Considering the bottom row already has a 2 planned, this means the top value in the 5 block must be a 2, while the bottom one is a 3. Hurrah, we have our first real values. Now let's look a bit higher. Considering the 1 in the first column can't be a part of a 13 block, it must be a part of the 9 block, meaning the other value in this block is an 8. But 8 is one of the values needed to make the 3 distinct 13 sums. This means it must be a part of the bottom one, where one of the values is outside of column 1. So this 13 block is the 5 plus 8 1. This allows us to draw some interesting conclusions. We now have a virtual 8 in column 1, a real 1 in column 2, and we need 1 in column 3, or, more specifically, in this 11 block. But if one of the values in this block is an 8, then the remaining 2 must be 1 and 2. This gives us a virtual 1 in column 1 and another 1 in column 3, so we still need to place 1 in column 2, and the only 2 available slots are in this 10 block here. Considering the bottom row already has a 1, this means the 1 must be in the top cell of the 10 block, while the bottom cell is a 9. Let's proceed to this cell. It's part of a 2-cell block that sums to 14, so it can't be a 4 and it can't be a 7 either, because 2 7s are not allowed in the same row. This means it must be a 6, which also identifies the other half of the 14 block as 8. And the final 2 cells of the 9-cell bounded block are 4 and 7, which means the remaining value in their 3-cell block summing to 14 is a 3. Knowing this, we can resolve this 1 and 3 pair. The top value is a 3 while the bottom one is a 1. Now let's look at this 12 block. The values missing in column 3 now are 3, 5 and 9. Obviously, to make it 12 we need a 3 and a 9, meaning the only remaining value in the column must be the 5. The next question is, how do we make a 9 if we don't have 1, 3 or 5? Well, the only remaining option is now 2 and 7. Now we have an 8 to make without a 1 and a 2, because both are already present in the column. This leaves us with a single option of 3 and 5. But how about we try to look for some lower hanging fruit? For example, this 10 block down here. To make it 10 out of 2 different values without a 1, a 3 and an 8 we will need a 4 and a 6. Considering the bottom row already holds a 6, it means the top value in this block is a 6, while the bottom one is a 4. This leaves us with a 7 and a 5 to place in the remaining 2 cells of the bottom row. Obviously, the 7 can't be a part of the block that sums to 14, because it would require another 7. This means the value in the 14 block is a 5, while the 1 in the 11 block is a 7. And we can instantly calculate the other values in these blocks. They are 9 and 4 respectively. With 2 values remaining in the bounded 9-cell block, one of them must be a 2 while the other is a 7. Clearly, the 2 can't make a sum of 15 with anything under 10, so 2 is the left value while 7 is the right one. And we can instantly complete both blocks with a 7 and an 8. And now we can do a whole lot of things. All by Sudoku rules, this pair here must have an 8 at the top and 1 at the bottom. This pair has a 7 at the top and a 2 at the bottom. This pair has a 3 at the top and a 9 at the bottom. This pair has a 4 at the top and a 7 at the bottom. But this is not all. Our 3 remaining values in this row must be 3, 6 and 9. Coincidentally, they are all part of the same 4-cell block, making the last value in this block a 5. By Sudoku we can now place the 5 in this cell, and complete the row with an 8. Are there any more low-hanging fruit? Actually yes. By Sudoku, one of these 3 cells needs to be a 3. But clearly, it can't be a part of a 2-cell group that sums to 15, meaning it must be a part of the 7 block. And we can complete this block with a 4. Speaking of the 15 block, Sudoku rules tell us it also needs to contain an 8, meaning we need to place an 8 in A7. Since the left cell already has a 7 in the same column, it means the value on the left is an 8, while the one on the right is a 7. Now let's see this 8 block. We know it can't contain a 7 or a 5, meaning it's a 2 plus 6. Since the bottom cell already has a 2 in the same row, the top cell is a 2 while the bottom one is a 6. And we have a row we can complete using Sudoku rules. The only value it's missing is a 4. To make a 7 out of 2 values without using a 2 or a 3, we would need a 1 and a 6. Not something we can resolve just yet, but it gives us a virtual 6 in column 4, and we have a real one in column 5. Considering Sudoku rules, this leaves us with a single possible spot for a 6 in column 6. We can also tell the remaining values in these 2 cells are 1 and 9. Not something we can resolve just yet, but it allows us to use Sudoku rules to limit the last 2 cells in the row to 4 and 5, and since the right one already has a 4 in the same column, it must be the 5, while the left one is the 4. And this allows us to fill the last cell in the 3-cell block with a 2. Wow, we can finally resolve the 1 and 2 pair we put there as the first step of our solution. The top of the values is a 2, while the bottom one is a 1, and the 9-cell bounded Sudoku block completes with a 9. Additionally, the 3-cell block summing to 18 completes with a 5. Let's see as we know enough to resolve the 2 remaining 2 cells in this 9-cell Sudoku bounded block. We know they must be a 6 and a 4. Considering how limited the board is by now, this cell here also must be a 4 or a 6, but it already has a 4 in the same row, meaning it's a 6. This means the value in the second column is a 4, while the one in the first column is a 6. And the value above the 6 is a 7 to allow the 2-cell block to sum to 13. Now consider these 3 cells. By Sudoku, one of them must be a 5, but it clearly can't be either of the cells belonging to the 10 block. This puts the 5 in the top row. Knowing this, we can resolve the pair here. The top value must be a 3, while the bottom one is a 5. This allows us to resolve this row. We know the 2 remaining values are a 3 and a 4, but since the top row already has a 3, the top value must be a 4 while the bottom one is a 3. And to complete the 12 block we need an 8. 2 cells left in the 9-cell Sudoku bound block, and we know they are a 9 and a 7. The bottom one already has a 7 in the same row, meaning the 7 is in the top cell while 9 is in the bottom one. Time to resolve this 10 block. We know it must contain a 1, so it's a 1 plus 9. Considering the bottom value already has a 9 in the same row, the 9 is in the top cell, while the 1 is in the bottom one. By Sudoku, we can resolve the last cell in the column to 3. Since this cell now has both a 1 and a 2 in the same row, it must be an 8, and the last cell in the row resolves to a 3. At the same time, we now know enough to resolve this 13 block. We know it's a 4 and a 9, and Sudoku rules allow us to place 9 in the top cell and 4 in the bottom one. Time to place an 8 in this 9-cell bounded Sudoku block. Considering the values already on the board, we only have one remaining option. And we can instantly complete the 3-cell block that sums to 17 using A6. Now we can use Sudoku rules to resolve these two pairs. And, now, also this pair, that further allows us to resolve this pair, and then this pair. Only 2 cells remain, and as we use the Sudoku rules to place the 2 missing values, the puzzle is complete. That wasn't too bad, was it? Killer Sudoku is probably one of the most popular Sudoku variants, but trust me, there's a ton of them and we'll try to look into at least the most popular ones. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to check them with us, or find out about other types of logic puzzle.